Hey everybody, it's JJ Talks, and it is Thursday on the Breakfast Club, and today I'm going to be talking about Sword Sage's question: do all ideologies deserve re-examination or necessitate re-examination? And honestly, every time I think about this question, my brain just explodes a little bit more because it's so it's not even just moral, it's philosophical, it's existential, and it's a very difficult question to answer. So I watched the videos that everyone else made, and I have various thoughts about those. Agent of Doubt discussed how it's necessary because you're essentially reteaching um, the lessons of the past to, generations who were not directly connected to those experiences and therefore need to find out for themselves um, how important it is that this ideology is socially reprehensible. He was giving the examples of the alt-right or neo-Nazism or whatever you want to call it. And I definitely agreed with a lot of what he said, but I also felt like it was a little bit dismissive of the severity of these experiences. And I don't fault Agent of Doubt for this. I'm not trying to, throw shade or anything. I feel like he was speaking more like on a philosophical, standing back, perspective. But when you're in the middle of it and you see people being hurt and you see your friends scared of being deported because of Trump and the Trump supporters, and you see your friends getting harassed on your campus because of what they're wearing or their skin color, it's hard to just be like, yeah, sorry he ripped off your hijab and shoved you down the stairs. He's just trying to teach a lesson of the past to, and I mean, again, I'm not trying to say that a concept is invalid, because it is valid, but it's important to consider the people who are caught in the crossfire of this relearning, and to me, it doesn't seem, I don't know. It's hard because let's stop talking about alt-right for a second. Let's stop talking about all the buzzwords and all that crap. Let's talk about pedophiles. And let's talk about having sex with babies for a second. Let's just talk about that. Raping babies, great. So having sex with children or raping children, and I'm talking the whole age of consent cutoff, that's a whole other conversation. I'm talking about a 2-year-old or a newborn baby even. We as a society have decided that this is reprehensible. It's horrible, it's awful, it's disgusting. Having sex with a child, raping a newborn baby, how could you be more fucked up, right? That's the worst possible thing that you could do in a lot of people's minds. And we have put that so far away to the point where it's when I think, and it's not necessarily an ideology, having sex with children, but it is a part of a lot of cultures to have sex with children and child marriages and stuff like that, and as a Western society, we think, that's obviously disgusting, and it's wrong, and it's horrible, and it's rape, but does that deserve to be re-examined? And that's what my mind goes to, because, and it's not because I want to come up with an excuse for why we shouldn't re-examine ideologies, because on a personal level, in my ideologies that I support, I am in a recursive process of constantly re-examining everything I think and everything I believe, and questioning it and challenging it. So I support that idea, but in this way I want to challenge myself to think of the worst possible, most Usually the example people compare is Hitler, but like I'm thinking like child rapists, like does the idea of child rape, do we need to be re-examining that as a society? And like in what ways can we re-examine that? Does it deserve to be re-examined? It could be part of a belief system, political, religious, or otherwise. And does that deserve to be re-examined? Does that deserve to be, because we got to keep it consistent here, right? Either everything needs to be re-examined or nothing. Or, I mean, I guess there's, okay, I'm sorry, I don't want to cut out the nuance here. But, it's difficult to think about. But, like, I'm personally, and it comes into, like, moral objectivity. Like, I don't believe in moral objectivity. Therefore, why I can't say that child rape is inherently wrong. Like, I don't think the universe has a list of rules in which we have to abide. I think that as a society, we develop certain morals for self-preservation purposes, and because as humans we have empathy naturally, in my opinion, and therefore we have deemed this as something that is not okay, and pretty long ago just like was like, yeah, no, these people are pariahs of society, we have to push them out, they don't belong here. And then we move on to, like, let's talk about Nazis, and I'm talking about World War II German Nazis, not like alt-right Milo Yiannopoulos, whatever. Like these people who are like dragging Jewish people out of their homes, or like, beating them or tossing them into fires and like starving them and experimenting on them. Like those people, looking at them from here, like, does that deserve to be re-examined? And it's hard because on one hand you don't want to ever enter a society where, like, people call them utopias, but I think that any society in which everyone agrees upon a set of rules is a dystopia, because that would never happen. And it requires, to some extent, a sacrifice of free will. But I think that we can't get to that point. We can't get to like a Wrinkle in Time society where like, or The Giver or whatever, where there's like the set of rules where we have to like, this moral system that everyone has to abide by and has to be completely 100% supportive of. Because if we get there, then we get to the dangerous part where the thought control and thought policing literally happens. But again, I don't want to put child rape on the same level of like another ideology, I guess. I don't know if that makes sense. It's just hard. It's difficult because, it's easy to say we should re-examine everything and that's totally natural for this to happen. But who gets caught in the crossfire? And why did they have to sacrifice for our idiocy? Right? Like, why is that fair? It's not. But life isn't fair, obviously. I just think that, like, the perspective of it's just a lesson, we'll be doing it forever, is a little too callous for me, because it does affect people, and I love people, you know me, queen of empathy, over empathetic. And again, I can't answer the question, it's just too big.